Hey all, welcome to ShareTech, where science meets investments, and I'm your host Raj. Over the last few years, precision medicine has quietly moved from promise to proof. We are no longer talking about early science experiments or small exploratory trials. Today's video, we're going to talk about what's coming in 2026, which are late-stage clinical readouts, large, expensive, and highly consequential studies that will determine which platforms actually work at scales and which ones don't. For investors, this matters because these trials sit right at the intersection of science, regulation, and market adoption. Positive data here doesn't just validate a drug, it can open a multi-billion-dollar market and change standards of care for various companies. And it can also reprice entire companies overnight. That's why in this video, we are stepping back and reviewing the most important precision medicine trials expected to report in 2026 and breaking down what each one could be from both a scientific and investment perspective. Let's start with diagnostics, because this is where precision medicine stops being niche and starts becoming population level. And this is the leading edge of the envelope, if you may say, for lack of a better term. The first trial is Gallery, developed by Grain in partnership with UK's National Health Service, or NHS. This is the world's largest cancer screening trial, enrolling almost 140,000 participants, designed to test whether a simple blood test can detect multiple cancers early enough to reduce late-stage diagnosis. This is not about sensitivity alone. The key endpoint here is clinical utility. Do outcomes actually improve? Final trial data is expected in the second half of 2026. If successful, Gallery targets a global cancer screening market estimated between $50 and $70 billion annually. Its main competition comes from Guardant Health, Exact Sciences, and other liquid biopsy platforms. Closely related is Shield from Guardant Health, focused specifically on lung cancer screening. Shield aims to either replace or augment CT scans, which suffer from poor compliance and high false positives. Shield is already in a pivotal study with FDA submission expected in late 2026. The lung cancer screening market alone is estimated at $15 to $20 billion, making this a massive diagnostics opportunity. I also recollect that early this morning, when I was looking for the pre-market updates, I came across an article which was talking about high incidence of lung cancers among Canadians, possibly due to radon gas in the basements. So I think this particular opportunity for Shield seems to be pretty big, at least from my vantage point where I sit in Toronto. Friends, if you're finding this breakdown useful, press the like button. It really helps other investors find this video. And also, please check out the free Substack and subscribe to it. You'll find more details about even this video on them. Next, let's move on to gene therapies, where investment thesis is all about durability versus risk. ABBV-RGX314 is the first candidate I want to talk about. This comes from AbbVie and REGENXBio. It targets wet age-related macular degeneration. The idea is simple but powerful: a one-time gene therapy that replaces lifelong anti-VEGF injections. This is now in phase 3 with top-line data expected around mid-2026. If successful, it competes directly with Eylea and Vabysmo in the market, worth around $15 to $20 billion annually. Another major gene-based program is Intelia 2002 from Intelia Therapeutics for hereditary angioedema. This is an in vivo CRISPR gene editing done directly into the patient. Phase 3 data is expected in late 2026, and this trial is being closely watched as a proof of concept moment for systemic gene editing. The market here is smaller, around $3 to $5 billion, but the platform implications are enormous. Now, this is the densest part of the pipeline and arguably the most exciting. Let's start with mRNA 4157, also known as V940 from Moderna and Merck. This is a personalized mRNA cancer vaccine used in adjuvant melanoma in combination with Keytruda. Phase 3 interim data is expected in the second half of 2026. If confirmed, this would validate mRNA vaccines as a new pillar of cancer therapy alongside chemotherapy and immune therapy. The melanoma market opportunity here is estimated in the range of $10 to $15 billion. Next in this category is BNP122 from BioNTech and Genentech, targeting colorectal cancer patients who are ctDNA positive after surgery. This is minimal residue disease, preventing recurrence before tumors reappear. Phase 2 efficacy data is expected in the first half of 2026, with success opening the door to $5 to $10 billion adjuvant colorectal cancer market. Then we have RMC6236 from Revolution Medicines. This is important because it targets RAS, historically considered undruggable, and is being tested in second-line pancreatic cancer. Interim survival data is expected in late 2026. Pancreatic cancer is a graveyard indication, but even modest improvements here could support a $6 to $8 billion oncology franchise. Finally, in oncology, darovasertib from Idea Biosciences targets uveal melanoma, a rare but deadly cancer that affects the eye. Phase 3 data is expected mid-2026, addressing a small but highly underserved market. The size of this market is around $1 to $2 billion. Then we come to the largest single opportunity in the entire list, that is pelacarsen from Novartis. Pelacarsen targets lipoprotein A or LPA8, genetically driven cardiovascular risk factor that cannot be modified by lifestyle. This is a phase 3 outcomes trial with results expected mid-2026. If positive, pelacarsen could redefine preventive cardiology. The estimated opportunity size ranges from $20 to $30 billion, with competition from Amgen and Silence Therapeutics. And now, from an investor standpoint, this is one of the most binary, but also most transformative leaders of 2026. So keep an eye on this company. And now let me talk about two final programs worth watching. COMP360 from Compass Pathways is the largest phase 3 trial of psilocybin in treatment-resistant depression. Efficacy data is expected in the second half of this year, potentially establishing an entirely new reimbursable class of psychiatric treatments. The treatment-resistant depression market is estimated at $10 to $15 billion. And finally, Beam 101 from Beam Therapeutics, which uses base editing, a more precise form of CRISPR for sickle cell disease. Updated safety and efficacy data is expected in 2026, with implication for the entire next-gen gene editing field. Existing sickle cell therapy, which is already in the market, which is approved by FDA, is likely to face some really strong challenge because this technology is much stronger and much more superior, in my opinion, to the existing approved therapies for sickle cell disease. So friends, when you step back, a few things stand out. 2026 is not about early science, it's about late stage validation. Diagnostics are scaling to populations, and gene therapies are trying to replace chronic drugs. Cancer vaccines are moving from concept to commercialization, and cardiovascular genetics may open the largest prevention markets we have ever seen. And from an investment perspective, these are market-moving events, not incremental updates. I'd also say that apart from guys who are looking at gene therapies, people who are invested in statin-based companies should also be watching out very carefully, because if this succeeds, then I believe statins will take a dive. So guys, thanks for watching this video. If you have not subscribed, can you please subscribe and help grow this channel? Also, please subscribe to our free Substack. Link to the Substack is also in the description. This brings me to an end of the video for today. Have a great day, guys. Bye for now.